Hello, welcome to Vlogmas, whatever the day it is. 7th day of Vlogmas? Yes, I think. The 8th. 8th day of Vlogmas, yes. So, on the 8th day of Vlogmas, what did Keir bring for you? I'm just going to tell you about my video games. Because I like video games. They're my friends. They're my friends. No, just I like to collect consoles. So, I own all of the home consoles and all but 2 of the handhelds. So, of Nintendo consoles. Depending whether or not you include the Famicom. I don't, because it's essentially a NES, or Nintendo Entertainment System. But the cartridge, there's significant design differences. And while I'm not actually opposed to having one. It's just, there's not really enough games there for me, because, you know, I don't speak or read Japanese yet. One day I'll know all languages, all minds, in the great hive mind that shall begin with me. Sorry, I'm being silly. So yes, the NES, the first Western console from the Nintendo company. And as consoles go, I actually think this one holds up very well. It's a very nice, simple console. Just a lot of the games on it are so well designed. I mean, most classics hold up without nostalgia. You can still play all the Marios or you can play the Metroid. Yeah, I think there is a Metroid for this NES. I don't have that one. Certainly the first Link, Legend of Zelda, holds up. Can't say for the second, haven't played it. The Mega Man games. Most of the classics still hold up, and even some of the ancillary games, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's still a good game. What else? Low G Man, Jetpack Man, those kind of games. The platform, as a console, the platformers hold up really well. I only have a couple of games for this, sort of, I think about 8. Surprisingly expensive these days, actually, NES games. Certainly my generation doesn't have the nostalgia for them. I know in the States there's a lot more nostalgia for the NES, or NES as weirdos like to call it. But in the UK I've never really experienced that much nostalgia for it. I don't think we had that big a release. But it's still fairly expensive here. Next, the SNES, or SNES, for you weird American types. The SNES. This is the console I have the most nostalgia for, I'd say. This was the one we had. I and my siblings had as a kid. Well, one of them. I'll get into that in another vlog, because I'm gonna make Dan sad in his pants. Once again, I don't have many games for this one. Only 4. And 3 of them are Mario games. Once again, really still holds up. I know the RPGs still hold up really well. I think the platformers hold up quite well. I don't think that they're as designed quite as well as they were on the NES, though. I think the NES has a slightly higher caliber of tightness of design that the SNES doesn't quite match up to. Like Donkey Kong Country, and even Super Mario World, which is still a fine game, doesn't quite hold up to the tightness of control that we had on the NES. Though the graphical difference is still startling. I want to play like the Star Wars game on the NES. Slot that in and it's just like, yeah, these graphics, kind of rough. SNES, though, still looks decent. I haven't tried it yet on my new TV, because that's stupidly huge. I mean, stupidly huge. But I might look for a new game to try it on. I need to buy some of the RPGs like Secret of Mana, Illusion of Time. You know the games I mean. Chrono Trigger, or I suppose, well, you can get some of the Final Fantasies for the SNES. You can't get the Final Fantasies on the NES, which irritates me, because they were US region only, and I'm not entirely sure if the NES is region locked or not. I think it is. Most home consoles are, though weirdly they didn't for the handhelds. Next, N64. This is a real stumbling of a console. Now we all know the joke about you need 3 hands to use the N64 controller. Which is kind of true. It's a badly designed controller. Well, it's designed to have 2 hand positions, which is a neat idea. You hold one hand while the other holds the central thrust, penis, arm, appendage. The one with the D stick, joystick, and you hold the other with the other hand. Whether you're just using, or you hold 2 on the outside like you do with some games. But that confusion is mirrored in the game's design, I feel. Now there are some games that are really well designed. Weirdly, first-person shooters are well designed, and like GoldenEye, everyone's classic. I prefer Perfect Dark myself, but that's just because thematically it's closer to what I like. I like cyberpunks, and there's a racing game I have for it. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But me and Dan played the shit out of that game. Mainly for the soundtrack, I think, because it had just a rocking soundtrack. But overall, sort of the emphasis on 3D really hampered the console in terms of design, because Super Mario 64 is not a good game. It is quite badly designed, in my opinion. And I know that Castlevania 64, or whatever it's called, was very badly designed as well. I even think Ocarina of Time has some massive design problems in this early 3D sphere. Whereas the 3D games that are first person don't suffer from that. It's strange. So yeah, a real stumbling block of a console, but I'm glad I own it. Next up, the GameCube. I love this console. I'm probably the console I've played the most of, and it's the one I have the most games for. And I just think they ironed out all of the bugs that were in the N64 for third-person 3D. Weirdly, though, they've actually brought on a lot of problems with first-person games. Because the second joystick isn't a good one. It's a really nubbly little thing. It's kind of difficult to control with, I find. So it was sort of weird. It's kind of a reverse with the GameCube. But yeah, I love the GameCube. I think that Mario Sunshine is one of the best Marios out there, and certainly one of the best 3D Marios. And you had a lot of great RPGs on there. I mean, everyone loves Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, or whatever it's called. Really hard to get a copy of it. I want another one. Or you have things like Eternal Darkness, which, why have we not had an HD remake of this game? It is just so good. Really good horror. Yeah, just the library for that game system was really great, and the cute little discs. Oh, and the beginning of my favourite franchise, Animal Crossing. I mean, while technically the Japanese release of it was originally on the N64, the first Western release was on GameCube, and a superior version. I think most people will agree, because of the hidden NES classics. Why did they remove those? They're like 3 meg. Well, Excitebike. Everyone loves Excitebike. Next up, the Wii. You'll notice I have no games for this one. That's because I sold them to buy a piano. I'll talk about this in the other gaming video I'm going to do at some point soon. But I'm a real sucker for selling games, and Dan will defend this, but they take advantage of you. They'll sell a game for 20 quid, and buy it off you for $5 or less. That sucks. It really does. It should at least, be 10. At the very least, if not 15. I think the Wii was also another stumbling console. The design choices in a lot of games sometimes worked. There were some really good games on the Wii. Mystic Mountain, Cold Mountain. I forget the name. It's been a while. It's late at night. I'm recording this. It's where you're this climber on a Tibetan mountain. I'm not sure if it's you're in the Himalayas, and you're sort of climbing up these mountains, and you sort of find these villages and these abandoned Buddhist temples, and you fight ghosts using tantric maneuvers and using mandalas and sort of holy signs with your hands, and using symbolic rituals and all kinds of cool stuff. Really cool, creepy game. Why did I sell it? I wanted a piano. Still suck at the piano too. Just can't get. I'm a white man with no rhythm. Can't be expected to play. I love instruments, but I can't play them. But yeah, there's sort of also the number of different ways you could control things with the Wii, I think, was a problem. Sort of, if we go back all the way to the NES and compare, you had one controller type with 4 buttons: start, select, A, B, and a D-pad. That's all you had. Well, that and razor sharp corners to bleed your hands from when you're like, God damn it, middleman, I will defeat you! Whereas on the Wii, you have the Wiimote with its motion control, the Wiimote with its buttons, both foot upwards and side. You have the Wiimote with the nunchuck. Then you have the classic controller. Then you have it in the peripheral controllers, like the gun and the crossbow and all that kind of crap. So you have all these varieties of control, and that offers a lot to developers, but I don't think any of them were ever tightly developed enough to really work well. None of the motion games I ever found worked really well. Skyward Sword. I had the golden nunchuck for that, where it was a nunchuck plus. Sorry, a Wiimote plus. Where you sort of held the sword as you wanted to hold it and used it properly. Wasn't that good to control. I mean, overall the game wasn't that good. I don't really rate modern Zelda games that highly. After Wind Waker, which, another one for the GameCube, just didn't hold up that well. It sort of, the targeting was messy. I just don't think that motion control in that way will work. And I think it's a step between true VR, well, a step to VR that we need to get beyond. And it just feels like maybe we need to go to like a glove again. I mean, we all remember the Power Glove for the NES, but maybe if you had a glove of some kind that you could actually see you could actually direct finger movement and that kind of thing, maybe that would work. And then you can have like feedback stuff. I know they are developing that for the Oculus, I think it's the Oculus. I know it's in development for one VR company or another, there's a bunch of them now. That would work a lot better than this sort of motion control stuff, because it puts you another step outside of the action. And immersion is a big deal in all media. I mean, even there are times when you can lose yourself to keyboard and mouse, but if you could have some direct feedback, you would be closer. And I think that's where we need to head. I think that's the only place the industry can head at this point. I mean, yeah, graphics are pretty now, but where can you take it? So let's move on to the Wii U. I actually think this is a big turnaround for Nintendo in terms of design of console and of games. One or two major problems with the console, but I think that the Wii U is actually a very solid console and will be remembered fondly. It hasn't sold as well as it could have, but I think overall the system is well designed. The T tray is simultaneously really good and really bad. I like the fact you can use it as a second screen. I like to watch movies while I game, or or watch TV or something. So I can have that on in the background, and then in the foreground, or even just having it that much closer. Sometimes it's nicer to just have it close to your face. In terms of games, I think there have been some really strong titles on the Wii U. Even some of the launch titles, which get a lot of shit. Zombie U, I think, is a great game. I think that's a legitimately great first-person shooter. Splatoon, really fun. I've said this a lot, I love Splatoon. Just a really fun selection of games. I mean, a lot of shovelware, but all Nintendo consoles these days suffer from that. And yeah, I think it's a good turnaround. I'm really worried where they're going to go with the NX though, because I think they need to do something really different now. I think they either need to go completely away from motion control and do another wacky console, go full VR, or go back full controller and just be kind of like the others, which will be a shame. I hope they do something different, because I think they've gone as far as they can with motion control and the touchscreen interface. I will say, I would have liked it so much better if you could have substituted the T-Tree for a 3DS, so that would have got a lot more people to buy it, I think. Because I have both, and I would like to, interchange the systems. The 3DS, my 3DS is sort of nicely calibrated for my eyes, and you really would only have to use one screen, whatever. Maybe only allow it for games where the T-Tray is a secondary controller, so it's just like the map or the inventory screen, because a lot of games just don't really use it. And then it would allow for a second person to have a T-Tray. And I'm calling it a T-Tray, but that's just what it looks like to me. Let's move on to my handhelds, because we're running along here. Now, this is my Game Boy Color. I may have mentioned it in a recent podcast. I've had this since I was 5. I got this on my 5th birthday with Pokemon Red, which I no longer have. Once again, sold it for £1. I am stupid with money, I really am. But I have a lot of fond memories of this. And I'm going to rebuild my games collection for it, I think. I look on eBay quite regularly and it's like, oh, I really want to play that game again. Oh, that looks a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't really say much because I don't have any games for it, and everything I remember about it is pure nostalgia. Actually, one of the best RPGs that I played on it, that I remember, and this is with extreme nostalgia, was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the Game Boy. This was actually a really good RPG. It had an excellent potion crafting system, and yeah, I remember that game being really good, and I think anyone who's interested in RPGs should check it out. That was really good. I might have to pick that one up again. I remember sinking a lot of hours into it, and I didn't sink a lot of hours into games when I was a kid. I was someone who was like, okay, I don't know this, swap over to the next cartridge, bought now. I have a lot of consoles, because I'm spoiled. Next is the original DS. Now this one's a bit damaged. Kind of got melted. I don't think the DS was that good of a system. Dan will disagree with me on this, but I felt it was kind of an ugly system and didn't really have that many good games. Admittedly, I didn't buy that many. It just sort of, I got it and sort of bought the initial run, and then it was nothing really interested me. I only have 3 games for it now, and 2 of them aren't even games. And those are the ones I look at most. The classic library and the cooking guide. I actually would like it if they released more of those type of games, or those kind of cartridges, because I really enjoy those. I think they're a great thing to have on a handheld. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. And then 3DS. Once again, don't think it's that good a console. Looks a lot better than the DS. Controls a bit better, and I like the control stick. I think that works quite well. Once again, just the games aren't interesting to me. Though I've bought a lot. No, I bought a fair number, but Animal Crossing. Also, what the fuck is up? Pardon me. What the fuck is up with the new Pokemon? Why do you have a bike and rollerblades so early on? I remember in Reddit, it's like half the game before you got a bike, and it's like, oh my god, I've got a bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. Bicycle. Yes, I sang Queen as a 5-year-old. I was a weird child. So those are my consoles. I'm going to expand this collection. I'm thinking about moving into Sega next. Kind of want to get a Dreamcast. And I think I might pick up an Advanced and a Virtual Boy if I can afford it. Because might as well have a complete set. But the NX, that's looming. That's looming. So, thank you for watching this indulgent look at my many items. Yes, children, look upon my items in despair. Good night.